Welcome into Steelers Latest, your daily spot for all news and information regarding your Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's hop right into things here as there's still no news on if Aaron Rodgers is going to sign or not. But we can't get down on that. We can't focus too much on Aaron Rodgers right now. Nothing. This is a dry day for Aaron Rodgers. We usually did something out of him, but today not too much new information. Steelers aren't applying too much pressure on him, so he's gonna make us wait still. That's what Aaron Rodgers does. That's what we're gonna have to get used to. But let's focus on if we don't sign Aaron Rodgers. Who are other options at quarterback still left in free agency that we could go after if Rodgers isn't gonna come to town? First one, he's behind me getting sacked by Troy. Joe Flacco, another 40-plus-year-old quarterback. I know. 1 year stopgap, of course. But Joe Flacco, he's that veteran presence. Omar Khan said we're more than likely going to have four quarterbacks going into next season, so that does lend me to believe it's going to be a veteran quarterback and a rookie quarterback that we draft that's going to be added to this team. Joe Flacco, he's shown that he can lead and teach the younger quarterback what to do. As we saw with Lamar in Baltimore, he trained him up well, and look how that panned out. Lamar seems pretty solid looking back on it now. But Joe Flacco, couple good years, couple back-to-back solid seasons last year. Not too well. He played 8 games in total with the Colts last year. 4 of those games he threw for over 250 pass yards. He still has never had a negative touchdown to interception ratio, which is pretty solid. He also it's just he won comeback player of the year 2 years ago, and he didn't even get hurt the previous season. He just out of nowhere popped off once again for the Browns, led them to a playoff berth. So I'd be relatively fine with signing Joe Flacco if Aaron Rodgers doesn't come to town. Once again, though, the O line is the downfall for these veteran quarterbacks because they're not going to be as mobile, and this O line does like to give up a lot of sacks. So it will be interesting to see how a veteran quarterback behind this O line performs. Another option is Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz, once again, he was in the MVP race in 2017. I know that's a long time ago now, almost 10 years, approaching 10 years. Hasn't started in 2 years though. 2 years ago with the Rams, I think he started 1 game, played decently well. Last year with the Chiefs, went to the Super Bowl with them, didn't get too many reps, maybe some garbage time reps. But I mean, the big issue with Carson Wentz is that later into the season he does seem to fold. 3 years ago with the Colts, his last full time starting, lost the final game of the year to that 1-15 Jaguars team entering that game, and costed the Colts a playoff berth. So, I mean, he's a veteran presence. That's what you're bringing one of these quarterbacks in to do. You're bringing them in to train up the future, and that rookie quarterback we're more than likely going to draft. So, I'm not really feeling Carson Wentz. I'd prefer Joe Flacco over Carson Wentz, but that's just another option. Flyer option, I would say. He just signed for the Canadian Football League with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Trey Lance. Trey Lance is always interesting to me. We haven't seen any of him really on the field. He started his first game with the 49ers against the Bears, won a really weird game. That one in the tsunami, it felt like. But just not a lot of tape on Trey Lance out there in the NFL. Not a lot of snaps in his college and pro career. So still a big question mark even a couple years into his career. That's why he's going to Canada probably to prove his worth once again. It will be interesting to see. I'm just saying that could be a flyer option once again. Just gives us more QB depth. I think it would be interesting. And then you got the trade option of Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins was horrendous at the end of last year with the Atlanta Falcons. His last 5 games he started for them. The touchdowns, he only had one. The interceptions, he had 9 of those things. So I don't really know if he's the move. The only positive to Kirk Cousins is he's shown for a stable franchise. He was with the Vikings, which is a stable franchise. When he was there, they performed very well, but that is under offensive head coach Mike Tomlin, more known for his defensive prowess. So I don't really see Kirk Cousins doing well if he comes to Pittsburgh, but maybe the stable franchise lends itself to Kirk Cousins being better. But let me know in the comments how you feel about these four quarterback options if Rodgers doesn't sign and which one you'd be most interested in. Let's move on to a possible trade. This is very out there, very, very far out there. But Tyreek Hill and the Dolphins seem to butt heads. Tyreek Hill seems to create his own trade rumors every couple months. He tweeted out some he tweeted at someone that like a smiley face that said, "Does Tyreek Hill want to get traded from the Dolphins?" He tweeted out a smiley face. Today, he's cleared it up that he wants to remain in Miami. It's just a weird relationship, it seems like him and the Dolphins have. If I'm Omar Khan, though, I'd call up Miami and see what it would take. Once again, I'd be willing to give away Alex Highsmith. There's been no say about shutting that down. We shut down the George Pickens trade I gave out earlier. Omar Khan said Pickens is going nowhere, but he hasn't mentioned anything about Alex Highsmith. And I think if you give up Alex Highsmith, one or two next year and like a handful of later round draft picks over the next couple seasons, maybe one this year, maybe a couple this year. You might be able to get that to be a done deal and bring in someone like Tyreek Hill, which makes this receiving core just maybe one of the best receiving rooms of all time. You have DK, GP, and Hill all on the same team. That'd be a nightmare for defenses all over the league. I would love it to happen. This is 99% chance of it not happening though, so don't get your hopes up too much because more than likely this is not going to happen. This is just a fantasy dream. Just putting it out there in the world because maybe Omar gets a hold of this video and makes the call. But I'd love to see it happen. But once again, more than likely not going to happen. Let's move to the other side of the ball though. And talk about this defense. I do think this defense has the potential to be one of the better Steeler defenses we've seen in the past 15 years, to the best defense we've seen in the past 15 years out of the Steelers. First off, you got the up front, you got Watt, you got Hayward, you got either a Highsmith if you don't trade him. If you do trade him, you got Herbig. I think those three lend itself to be another 40 plus sack season for this Steelers defense. I love them up front. There's nothing I would change up front right now besides possibly getting rid of Highsmith. Uh, the linebackers, though, you got Peyton Wilson and Patrick Queen. Peyton Wilson, we saw some flashes last year. He had that crazy interception against the Ravens. He forced a couple fumbles. I think Peyton Wilson could be the next core linebacker of this Steelers defense. He could be the next Steelers legend, maybe. I think he performed really well and will only get better with time. Once again, this will be his second season he's entering. So he was a rookie last year, entering his second season. Only can go up from here. And he put together a stellar rookie season last year. I think he only improves once again, and his improvement will lend itself to Patrick Queen having to be better, I think, if he wants to keep the role in Pittsburgh. Patrick Queen just didn't see too many flashy plays out of him last year. He still had a 100-plus tackle season last year, which I know he didn't really stand out on our TV screens much last year, but I do believe this year he'll be able to put it together more after a year in this defense, more comfortable around the facilities. I think he'll be able to bounce back a little bit and have one of those seasons he had in Baltimore, like that last year in Baltimore. He was close to being an All-Pro linebacker. Him and Roquan Smith were stellar, but him in Pittsburgh last year didn't start well. It seemed really shaky in the beginning, but by the end he found his footing, and I think that will only continue into his second season here in Pittsburgh. Or same with Peyton Wilson. His his trajectory will only go up. Oh, only go up. There it is. From here. So that's our front seven. Let's talk about the back side of this defense. The secondary. There's two safeties. I love our safeties. I love Deshaun Elliott. I love Minka Fitzpatrick. I think they're locked down. Deshaun Elliott lends himself to playing the box sometimes. He lays the boom a lot of the times when he makes tackles. That's the type of safety I want right there. Someone that's gonna lay the hit stick down on a wide receiver cross in the middle, and that also lends itself to Minka being the anchor of the defense and being able to play center field back there and just lurk. Quarterbacks just follow their eyes and, get interceptions. I think the safeties aren't the issue. You the cornerbacks, though, those could be the issue because, last year, 24th ranked pass defense was not good at all. But does Darius Slay lend himself to teach these younger cornerbacks like Joey Porter Jr., like Beanie Bishop, and Corey Trice the ways of the ropes and how to be a shutdown corner in the NFL? I think he can do that. The scary part of Darius Slay, though, is that he is 34, and if he's out there too much, does he get cooked every couple downs? That's the scary part with Slay being so old. But that's the risk we took with signing him. I do think he is gonna be a great veteran presence on this defense and be able to be a player coach for the younger cornerbacks under him. And I do believe if he can do that, this defense will be a top 5 defense this year in the league, maybe even the best defense in the league, and if we can be the best defense once again in the league, that's how you know Steelers football is all the way back. But let's move on and close this with the rule change that, the Steelers got implemented down in Palm Beach at the NFL league meeting. The Steelers proposed a new rule that allows for Zoom calls during legal tampering period, only 5 Zoom calls during that legal tampering period. And this also allows you to schedule visits before the start of the next league year. I think this is only beneficial for both players and teams. I don't see any downside to this new rule being implemented, really. Um, just a positive for both. But that's how we'll wrap things up. I know that wasn't too exciting to end, but that is something the Steelers did calls to change. They had a new rule change implemented because of the Steelers. Thought I should cover it here. But thank you all for tuning in to this episode of Steelers Latest. I've been your host, Cole Dennis, and I will catch you tomorrow.